Welcome to our in-depth analysis of Amazon stock performance over the recent months. In this video, we'll break down the key trends, technical indicators, and possible scenarios for AMZN, giving you a comprehensive understanding of where the stock stands and what might come next. Whether you're a long-term investor or a short-term trader, this analysis will help you navigate the current market landscape. Let's start by looking at the general overview and recent price trends for Amazon. From late June to late September, Amazon's stock has displayed a more volatile pattern compared to some of its peers. The price started around 223, climbed to a high of about 238 in late July, and then experienced a sharp drop to around 211 in early August. Since that dip, the stock has been in a recovery phase but hasn't managed to reclaim its previous highs. Recently, the price action has been characterized by consolidation, with a slight downward bias indicating uncertainty among investors. Volume has played a significant role in Amazon's recent price movements. Throughout the period, trading volume has been quite volatile, with notable spikes on days of significant price changes. For example, on August 1st, a massive volume of over 122 million shares coincided with a sharp price drop. Another high-volume day occurred on September 23rd, as the price continued to decline. Generally, higher volumes have been observed on down days, suggesting that some investors are distributing shares during declines. Looking at the moving averages, Amazon is currently trading below most of its short-term averages. The 5-day simple moving average SMA is at 226.25, and the 5-day exponential moving average EMA is at 224.79, both above the current price. This is generally considered a bearish sign, indicating downward momentum in the short term. The inability to break above these averages suggests that sellers are still in control for now. We shift our focus to the longer-term moving averages, the picture changes slightly. The 50-day SMA is at 227.57 and the EMA at 226.08, both still above the current price, reinforcing the short-term bearish outlook. However, the 200-day SMA and EMA are at 214.8 and 214.95, respectively, which are below the current price. This suggests that while the long-term trend remains bullish, it is starting to weaken as the price approaches these key levels. MACD, or Moving Average Convergence Divergence, is currently at -0.5, which is below its signal line at 0.99. This negative reading, along with a bearish histogram, points to ongoing bearish momentum in the stock. The MACD is a widely used indicator for identifying trend direction and strength, and in this case, it suggests that sellers are still dominating the market. Relative Strength Index, RSI, is currently at 39.13, placing it in the neutral to bearish range. This means there's still room for the stock to move lower before reaching oversold territory. Meanwhile, the Williams %R is at -96.08, which is deep in the oversold zone. This could signal that the stock is due for a short-term bounce, as oversold conditions often attract buyers looking for a reversal. Money Flow Index, MFI, is at 35.88, which is in the lower range and suggests ongoing selling pressure. Additionally, the stochastic oscillators are below 30, indicating that the stock is in oversold territory. These indicators together point to the possibility of a short-term bounce, but the overall sentiment remains cautious as selling pressure persists. Commodity Channel Index, or CCI, is currently at -185.63, which is firmly in negative territory. This further supports the bearish momentum we've seen in other indicators. The CCI is often used to identify cyclical trends in a stock, and such a low reading suggests that Amazon is experiencing significant downward pressure at the moment. Average Directional Index, ADX, is at 12.85, indicating a weak trend overall. Meanwhile, the Arun down is at 100, much higher than the Arun up at 56. This confirms that the current trend is downward, but the overall strength of the trend is not particularly strong. These indicators suggest that while the bias is negative, the market could be waiting for a catalyst to strengthen the move. Linear regression analysis shows a slightly positive slope of 0.16, indicating a very weak upward trend. However, the R-squared value is only 0.26, which means the correlation between time and price is weak. The predicted value based on this analysis is 231.25, which is above the current price, suggesting that the stock might be undervalued in the short term. However, the weak correlation means this trend is not highly reliable. Based on the current trend and technical indicators, the next trading day's opening for Amazon is likely to be around the previous day's close or slightly lower, possibly in the range of 219 to 221. However, with several indicators showing oversold conditions, there could be some volatility at the open, and a short-term bounce is possible if buyers step in. Immediate resistance for Amazon can be found at the 5-day SMA of 226.25. If the stock manages to break above this level, the next resistance would be the 10-day EMA at 227.35, followed by the 20-day EMA at 228.45. These levels are important because they represent potential barriers where selling pressure could increase, making it harder for the stock to move higher. On the support side, the immediate level to watch is the recent low of 219.45, reached on September 24th. If the price falls below this, the next support would be psychological levels like 215. With the current price at 220.21, Amazon is closer to its support than resistance, suggesting that a bounce could occur if buyers defend these levels. Intraday movement for Amazon is expected to be volatile, with a bias toward testing support levels first. If the support holds, we could see bounces toward resistance levels. However, if support breaks, further downside is likely. This kind of volatility can present opportunities for active traders but also increases risk. Average true range, ATR, over 14 days is 5.07, indicating that Amazon typically moves about 5 points per day. Based on the last close of 220.21, the possible high for the next day could be around 225.28, while the possible low could be around 215.14. This gives traders a sense of the expected daily volatility and helps in setting stop-loss and take-profit level. A bullish scenario: if Amazon bounces off the support at 219.45 and breaks above the resistance at 226.25, it could start a recovery phase. The stock might then test higher levels around 230 to 235. For this to happen, we would need to see strong volume and confirmation from other technical indicators, signaling renewed buying interest. In a neutral scenario, Amazon might continue to consolidate between the support at 219.45 and resistance at 226.25. This would mean the stock is waiting for a clear catalyst, such as earnings or macroeconomic news, to determine its next direction. During this phase, price action may remain range-bound and less predictable. Amazon breaks below the support at 219.45, the bearish scenario comes into play. The stock could continue its downtrend and test lower levels around 215 or even 210. This move would likely be accompanied by increasing volume and more bearish signals from technical indicators, reinforcing the negative outlook. Amazon has been in a consolidation phase recently, with the price moving sideways and showing a slight downward bias. This phase often occurs after a period of volatility, as the market digests recent moves and traders wait for new information. Consolidation can be a precursor to a larger move in either direction, depending on which side breaks first. Short-term outlook for Amazon remains bearish, with the stock trading below most short-term moving averages and several indicators pointing to continued selling pressure. However, the long-term trend is still technically bullish, as the price remains above the 200-day moving averages. This mixed picture means that traders and investors should be cautious and consider their time horizon before making decisions. Several indicators, including the Williams %R, stochastics, and MFI, are showing oversold conditions for Amazon. This means the stock has been heavily sold in the short term, which could attract buyers looking for a reversal. However, oversold does not always guarantee an immediate bounce, so it's important to watch for confirmation before acting. A pattern of higher trading volumes on down days suggests distribution, where institutional investors may be selling their positions. This is often a warning sign for further downside, as it indicates that large players are exiting the stock. Monitoring volume alongside price action is crucial for identifying these distribution days. Support levels like 215 are considered psychological because they are round numbers that often attract buying interest. If Amazon's price approaches these levels, traders may step in to defend them, leading to potential bounces. However, if these supports break, it can trigger further selling as stop-loss orders are hit. Volume confirmation is key when interpreting price moves. For a breakout above resistance or a breakdown below support to be reliable, it should be accompanied by higher than average volume. This indicates strong participation and increases the likelihood that the move will be sustained. Given the current volatility and mixed signals, risk management is more important than ever. Traders should consider using stop-loss orders to protect against unexpected moves and avoid overexposing themselves to a single position. Setting clear entry and exit points based on technical levels can help manage risk effectively. For long-term investors, the current consolidation and slight downward bias may not be a major concern, as the long-term trend remains bullish. Holding positions and waiting for the trend to strengthen could be a prudent strategy, especially if the stock remains above key long-term moving averages. Short-term traders may want to wait for a clear breakout above resistance or a breakdown below support before taking new positions. The current environment is characterized by uncertainty and potential for sharp moves in either direction, so waiting for confirmation can help avoid false signals. Summarize: Amazon's stock is currently in a consolidation phase with a slight downward bias. Most technical indicators are bearish, but some are showing oversold conditions, hinting at a possible short-term bounce. The long-term trend remains bullish but is weakening. Both traders and investors should stay alert and adapt their strategies to the evolving market conditions. As we wrap up this analysis, it's clear that Amazon's stock presents both risks and opportunities in the current market environment. The combination of bearish momentum and oversold indicators means that traders should be cautious but also ready to act if a reversal occurs. Long-term investors may choose to hold, while short-term traders should wait for clear signals. Stay tuned for further updates as the situation develops.